short one, 2 long ones. The 2 long ones are for these two, which we call the yards, and the slightly shorter piece makes the 2 bows. So if you imagine this in fact is 2 of those. So when we bend this piece, it's very important that the seam is really, really good, because we're going to be bending it around like this, and it's going to be under stress. So what we do is we start with these 2 pieces first, because they're not so important. And then by the time we finish these 2 pieces, we're so good at soldering that this piece becomes perfect. That's how that works. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with one of these long pieces to make the yards. And you all got a little hammer and a
metal hammer? Yeah, wait.
Okay, this is where we find there are already 2 different ways of doing this. You want another way? Oh yeah, we'll do this. Yeah. So the first thing we do, this is really quite soft material. Sometimes it comes hard and you have to anneal it to make it soft, but right now it's fairly soft, which is good. So we just put it on here. I usually bend this right around as far as I can go using my thumbs, but my thumbs are quite strong from doing this for a few years. So you may find, instead of doing it with your thumbs, you might want to use a small hammer.
Wooden hammer.
Yeah.
Never hammer on brass on top of a steel rod like this.
Yeah. Now, what I usually do to finish the steel is different from what this and Michael do is I take a steel rod and I do this. And then close this up. So, put it back on here again. The flux prevents it from becoming oxidized. So when the solder arrives, the solder can stick onto the metal very well. Okay. And we have some soft solder, some silver solder somewhere, right?
Oh, right, we didn't put that yet.
Yeah, it would be good. Okay. Flux is ready to receive the solder, and then we put some solder on and we just work along like this. It's easy to say, but it becomes quite tricky to do. Now the one thing is this contains 40% of silver, which means it's very, very expensive. So we use as little as possible. And if these 2 edges are not together, if they're open, you cannot pour solder in to fill them. It will not happen ever. And what happens is that the profits from the workshop will end up on the floor in shavings.
Wie der Michael immer so schön sagt, das Zeug ist schweineteuer.
Schweineteuer. So, now I'm going to heat along the end like this. I'm not going to heat this like this, because we want both sides to be exactly the same temperature. If this side is hotter, the solder will flow this side, it won't flow that side. So we're going to heat along like this. I'm going to touch some solder on, and I'm going to have a little wire here, a little helper, just to help the solder to flow if it needs to. So let's do this. Oh, and the other thing is, whenever you show somebody something, in your own workshop it's fine. You know?
Oh, the one with the little cup is better.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
Yeah, these are okay. Okay.
And show the heatest point. Show the heatest point.
Yes. This point here, at the end of the blue cone, is the hottest part, and that's where we're going to be directing, right there. That's going to be touching the metal. So we just get a little bit of warmth here to begin with. So, start heating here. And just help it to flow along. If it doesn't flow properly first time, you stop, come back. I'm going to come back to here in a minute. Here we go. I think a bit bosses ass of this, Rick.
It's always that way when you demonstrate it.
Yeah.
Just always.
Now you can see it's going along nicely. There it goes. Smooth the joints down,
Everything's okay.
and then remove any excess solder that's on here, like this. Rub that down a bit more, like so. See, there's a bit of solder on the side here, and want to get rid of that. So, assume the whole length has been done like this. The next process, and we'll demonstrate that later on, is to put the tube into a draw bench and pull it through a die to get it really flat and smooth. That we'll do later. Okay. So I think everybody should start doing this, and we'll be circulating a report. Bent around and joined together. Unlike these tubes just have straight seams. This one has a tooth seam. We cut teeth all the way along here. In fact, let me get this one and you can see the tooth seam on the inside here. As you can see, it's doing this all the way down to here. So I'll just show you how that works. Now, just borrow your file. It needs a bit of cleaning, doesn't it? Yeah. Now, when these edges come together, it's twice as thick, so they're going to overlap. So they're going to be overlapping like this. So what we need to do first of all is to file this edge down a little bit thinner. And here is going to be hammered, so we don't have to worry about it much here. From here to here, we like to just file a bit of this edge away and get it a bit thinner.
Would you like a marking pen?
Huh?
Would you like to mark with a pen?
No, it's okay.
Well,
So that's a bit thinner now. That's called feathering. That's a feathered edge. And we just make sure we don't go any further than here. Just go from here onwards. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little piece here. I'm not going to do the whole thing. Otherwise, I'll use it. And you set it so that it is exactly like so. And then you make a mark down here like that. And then we're going to cut these teeth If the teeth are too big, then the metal comes together closer, but certainly not bigger. Okay, that's enough. So, this has to be bent in the middle, like so, and it has to be bent completely flat, not rounded. It has to be completely flat. Otherwise we can't get the edges to go together properly. So we're just going to do this, like so, all the way along. So they're going to become completely flat.
Okay.
I hope it dissolves.
Okay, now it's melting. So it goes under the tooth, between the teeth, under and between. Yeah. Just find the toilet. So. Und das Blut fließt unter den Zähnen und zwischen den Zähnen und überall. Und dann als nächstes, I don't know which end is hot. Then the next thing is to heat them up again and press lightly. It doesn't take much. You go like this and make them flat. Make sure the solder has flown everywhere. Okay.